Greetings, my name is Kingsley Clausen from Essential Software Development. I'd like to take a couple minutes to introduce you to the vision that I have for a management tool for CFC outreach coordinators in the brave new world of the CFC. So who am I? I'm an independent software developer. I have provided CFC back office software to the PCFO community for well over 20 years. I possess a comprehensive understanding of the CFC, and I can develop desktop or web-based enterprise applications. For those who don't know, a desktop application is something like Microsoft Word, just runs on your desktop. A web-based application runs through your browser with all of the equipment and software and everything else residing somewhere else, usually in the so-called cloud. I envision a hosted SaaS solution for this project. SaaS means software as a service, means it's running in the cloud, similar to a product like Salesforce.com or something like that. You access it through your browser and use the features, nothing to install, nothing to update or manage. So who is this for? Obviously, it's for CFC outreach coordinators who I view as my potential customers. There is also value for the local federal campaign coordinators who will benefit from the system and may also be contributors in that they can provide information about their own account in terms of who are the contacts there, how many people are there, anything else you need to know as a coordinator to manage that account and have the best outcome for your campaign. It may have value for the central campaign administrator. I would like to think that I would get some value from them. In a perfect world. I can envision getting data from them that I can put into the system, such as gross giving dollars per account. So if you have a post office in your account, I'd like to think that we would be able to extract information from their system that would inform you how much was given through that account in a given year, that sort of thing. The CCA may also have some benefit in looking at the accounts that are established in this system versus what they're seeing in their system to try to identify accounts that are unserved or not participating or that sort of thing. OPM Office of CFC Operations may have some interest here. We will likely have data that they would find interesting. Again, we can compare it to data that would be found in the CCA's pledge management system and possibly draw some interesting conclusions. So what is it? It is like a CRM tool. And a CRM tool is a customer resource management tool. I'll again cite Salesforce.com, but a CRM tool is simply something that allows a salesperson to keep track of different accounts, keep track of the contacts at that account and other detailed information that you want to know about that account. How much did they buy last year? How much are they buying this year? What's the likelihood of closing a sale and some other things that are not pertinent to the CFC, but I think you get the idea. So it's a centralized information system where all of the information that the outreach coordinator knows about the account is kept there. And that's good because it's safe. It doesn't travel with people, with their files, with their notebooks or anything like that. And it's a single repository of all of the known information. This is particularly good when your actual coordinator people arrive new to the operation and they instantaneously have one portal where they can see all of the information about the accounts you've assigned to them, the contacts and everything. And there's no need to swap files or computers or spreadsheets or any of these kinds of things because you have a central administration system for all of this that's extremely handy. So it helps you to know who your customers are, who your contacts are at the account, what is their history, what is your schedule. It allows a scheduling so that you can schedule your visits to these places, or maybe you're just mailing things to them and you can keep history of the fact that you did that. All very good functions for managing a CFC account. So how do we bring it about? Not too hard. I would initially deliver a system with basic functionality, although it would probably have more than basic functionality. It would be a useful utility designed to do everything we envision going into the campaign. And that would be in time for the 2017 campaign quite easily. And from there, we would build it out to whatever you actually need. And sometimes you don't know what you need until you start operating. And what you need then is the ability to modify your software and adapt it to what you're really finding in the world and what you need to keep track of. And that'll be very interesting, especially in the first year, because it will be rough and tumble in there with people going out into the field and saying, hey, I need to track this and I need to track that, and can you add these features and these sort of things. And so we'll do that, and I'll set up a user forum to socialize features and pick up requests for features and answer questions on how do I do things and all that sort of thing. So ultimately, all things are possible. We don't really know what's necessary at this point. I've envisioned it as much as I probably can based on very limited information. So I'll show that to you here in a minute and just show you the basic vision. What will it cost? I don't know. It depends largely on a couple things, which is what is the value that it would have to your organization as an outreach coordinator, and then frankly, how much can you afford to pay? That doesn't mean what's the maximum you can pay. It's just how much can you spend on a tool like this. And for me, I have to determine if the whole project collectively is going to be worth my while. There are fixed costs in managing a server system like this. I manage one now. I know what the costs are. I can project that. I know what I need to recover, and I know how much I need to make simply to make it worth my time, which I anticipate would be considerable, especially in the first year, but probably in all years. So, but fee-wise, it would be a flat fee. You would pay some amount per campaign zone or area, whatever they call it, one time per year. And that way it's flat. You can budget for it. It's very clear, and you never pay anything else. So there's no charges ever for service of any kind, whether it's a feature update or technical support or anything like that. You just pay once. That's really the best way to do it, probably the only way to do it. I always sold CFC Assistant on that basis, and I think that just works for everybody. So I'll give you a quick demonstration. Lots of caveats here. What you're going to see is very similar to what the tool will look like in terms of its look and feel, not necessarily in terms of its navigation, although the certain aspects of the navigation will be dead on. But when we get into how a user interfaces and navigates a system, that's really the nuance of making software, and that would be later down the road. But I will be able to demonstrate features and usability, and it really does represent how the system will look and feel, just not the precise navigation or exactly what you would click on or how buttons are arranged or anything like that. I put this demonstration together so I could just show you general features of a system and what it might contain for your use, and it should be very helpful for you to see this. So without any further ado, I'll switch over and show you what I have in the application so far. All right, let's start by just looking at the kind of business objects that you would have in this system. I know it's a diagram and you don't really want to look at it too much, but if you just scan it briefly, you'll see these are the kind of objects that you're going to manipulate as a outreach coordinator. Starting at the high level, you might be a very high level outreach coordinator manager, meaning you might have one zone, you might have several zones. You know, if your business for this has grown to a point where you cover 2 or 3 zones, then fine, and you'd have 1 or more offices. Those offices would have any number of coordinators who are the actual foot soldiers doing the outreach coordination. Those people relate down to various things at the accounts, so that at the account level, the coordinator, if they look down into their systems, they would see appointments and key workers and visits and supply requests and campaign results and things like that. And over here, related to each zone, you'd have LFCC members. Media is just a holding place where if you have PDFs or even videos or whatever, you could put them in there for common access by everybody who might need to use them. So you have one place to keep all those things and keep everything organized. So that's just a kind of a brief overview of some of the stuff that's in here now. And so now let's move over and take a look at the actual application. You can see I'm in my browser here. That's the main thing I wanted you to see. So I'm just going to click over to the application, and I'm going to maximize my screen to take the browser tabs away and give us a clean view. So I'm logged in as an administrator, and I have a panel set up here so that I can get to data that I want to as an administrator, at least at this stage in development. So there's nothing sophisticated about it. It has no specific utility other than to take me to places I want to go right now. So at the highest level, you have zones, and a zone is really an entire campaign area. We also down here, we see access to the outreach coordinator managers, various coordinators and things like that. So to eliminate confusion, let's roll these guys up and just look at it from the zone aspect for right now, and we'll do a little bit of drilling down. So for example, I as a manager might be looking at all of the zones that are using the system. You as an outreach coordinator might only see that zone or those zones which you are actually managing. So you might see 2 zones, 3 zones, or however many zones you happen to manage. I would imagine most outreach coordinators will take on just one zone in the beginning, but I never know. And but the system is made with the from the standpoint that if you're an outreach coordinator and you manage to build a little empire of more than one zone, you can certainly do that in here. And that's an important concept to understand, is that no matter how many zones you end up taking on, the system will work for you quite well. So let's drill down into the Northwest region as an example. So here I see the details on the Northwest region, which are not much. It's you know, just its name, and maybe it has some number, and then you can see that you know, this outreach coordinator called Elite OC Services that I made up serves as the outreach coordinator or manager for this zone. Related to the zone are all these items down here, where you can see right away, here's your LFCC members for this zone. So this would just be where you keep a list of these folks. I can open them up and edit them, and that would just be the personal attributes or details, really the ones that you see on the screen here, which is all you really need to know. Who are they? How do I get a hold of them? That sort of a thing. There's a item in here called campaigns. I'm really not sure what I'm doing with it yet, and I'm just going to pass on it. And then we could look at accounts. So within the Northwest region, you've got any number of accounts. So these are the individual what I always called employers in CFC Assistant, but most systems like this would probably call it an account. You know, a post office, here we have a Army Corps of Engineers station, that sort of thing. So anywhere where you would go as a coordinator to show a film and promote the campaign and meet and greet and have other activities, that's an account. So we can drill down into an account. I'll do that in a minute. Within this zone, you might have several offices. An office could literally be, frankly, somebody's home. You might have somebody who's a remote worker. They live in one of these cities, and okay, you have their contact information, their address. For all intents and purposes, it's a satellite office. It may even be a satellite office, but you can manage it within the scope here. And over here, I've got an area for media, and here you could have various media in here. Here I uploaded some sort of a poster, so we'll take a look at that. I could open that from here. And of course, we can see what it is, blah, blah, blah. You could download it from here. The idea here is really just to put in PDFs, maybe some Word documents, things like that. Sure, you could probably put a video in here, like a big MPEG or something. I don't really mind. It's a lot of data. We'll have to look at ways to deal with that. So going back to the region here, so we looked at these tabs. Let's go back to accounts, and let's go open an individual account. This one here's Internal Revenue Service, so we'll pop it open. And now you really see a very similar window. The paradigm is the same. It's what information do you want to know about this entity we call an account? And just to give you an idea of what we can do, sure, you can throw a Google map on there that's based on the address that's given down here. That's easy to do. Little things like that might help the coordinator in their tasks. Down here you see a list of coordinators, and so these are all of the coordinators that you might have assigned to this account. In most cases, you probably assign one coordinator to manage an account, but I want it to provide the ability, at least conceptually here, that you might assign more than one, and or one and a backup or something like that. So I want to give you as much flexibility as possible. I didn't want the rigor of, one coordinator to every account, when in real life you might have other practices. So I'll try to accommodate some things there. So related to this account, there's also appointments. And here's an appointment that's set up by one person, and you can go in and look at this. This is a calendaring type thing. It's just, you've set up an appointment and provided the details of it. And if I can find it, I'll go in and show you here where you can look at calendar views of things like that, for calendaring and management of your time. So we looked at appointments, and there's key workers. Key workers are those people at the accounts who are going to help you when you get there, who have some amount of control over certain amounts of people there at the account, responsible to get out the news and help you coordinate the account relevant to the campaign. Visits is just another object similar to an appointment. This might just represent actual visits that you made to an account, so you can keep track of that. You could probably do that with appointments as well. Haven't decided really how to deal with that yet, but that's another concept. And then campaign results. So every year you could put in the campaign results in a campaign or in an account. And I spoke to that earlier, how hopefully we could get that data just from the CCA system. Quite literally, a flat file would probably do it. There's some technical details there, but it's certainly possible to do, and that would be nice if every year we could just populate this for you, and you could come in and see, well, in this year they brought in this much, in another year this much. I could probably also put in here the number of people in the account at that year or something like that. And just to show features, we'd easily chart these things, and you could look at graphs over time to visualize what's going on with the account and that sort of thing. So let me just navigate back to where I was. So that's really right there a pretty good overview of some of the things you're going to be able to do and manipulate. I think I have just a few other things I'll show you briefly. Again, I can just sort of reset my view here to the home page. And this time I'll take the zones out of view, and we'll look at managers. So here's just a coordinator's view. So you might be an outreach coordinator. You might be an entity that has overall responsibility for a campaign zone, and your perspective coming into the system might look mostly like this, whereas right off the beginning you want to know, well, you want to look in from the standpoint of coordinators because that's what you're going to deal with the most or something. Or you could look at accounts. We just give you an accounts view, so okay, I want to look at accounts, that kind of thing. So same kind of navigation paradigm, looking at different objects, get the details on them. And the farther you drill down in the hierarchy, the less you have underneath down here. So I've drilled down into a coordinator, remembering that a coordinator is just one of the people that work for the outreach coordinator in order to do all of the functions. I would certainly envision each zone having multiples of these just because of large geographic areas and things like that. And then related to this coordinator, you can see the accounts that they're assigned to, and you can see the appointments that they have all set up. And found the calendar view. So here's an example where you could pop up the calendar and see what they've got going on at any particular time. I can't remember if I have any in here on this one. I don't think I do. So your events, those events would be calendarized on something like that. So that's really a brief overview, and the whole idea is just to show you that this can be made. It can be made fairly easily. I constructed all of this. I think what you see here on the screen is probably the product of 3 or 4 hours of work. So it's not really very much. And that gives you some idea of how much you can project a system with a little bit of time and the right tool set. And then it's really not very difficult to get this system hosted up on a web server somewhere and get everybody access to it and start setting up accounts, getting people logging in and doing all kinds of fun things. So that's a wrap up on everything I've envisioned so far. I'm making this video prior to the 2016 workshop. It's currently just a few days away. And when I'm there, I'll be promoting this and asking people to look at it and get some feedback. I would like to have your feedback on what you think you will need, and I would especially like feedback if you don't think you're going to need anything. So, if not, I'll move on to other projects, but I can certainly see the utility for this. I'd like your feedback on if you see the utility for it as well. I hope that what you've seen here looks like, something that once it's brought into production would be good and usable and of the same kind of quality that CFC Assistant has been. People give me very good compliments on the quality of that software, and I'd like to maintain that level of quality here. Have a very professional system that you can use. So look me up at the conference if you're seeing this after that time. I'm always looking for your input. If you think you're going to pursue being an outreach coordinator, and if you think a tool like this has some utility to you, I'd like to talk to you about it. And especially as we start to get some idea of what kind of budgets we're going to have and your concept of about how much you could spend on a tool like this, because it's really going to come down to you. Sooner or later, you're going to have some budget, and sooner or later, you can say, well, I can afford to spend maybe this much on some software, before I have to just go it alone and revert to emails and spreadsheets. So I'm interested in that data when you have it, that information, and do contact me and work with me on this project, and let me know if you think it's viable and valuable. So pleasure presenting to you, and good luck in 2017 when it comes. Those of you who remain standing, whether or not I'm involved in the 2017 campaign is yet to be determined, and we'll just see about that. So again, thanks for watching.